All right, I thought this would be a great idea because I want to review my own playing from the perspective of like everyone else's. And I can admit that, in this last video, I did this raw performance and it wasn't my best, work, but I'm standing by it, I'm standing behind it. And I want to do a reaction kind of from the perspective of the audience because I got a couple of comments referring specifically to this raw solo. Guy says, keep practicing, man. A few more years of hard work, and I think you'll be playing some good stuff. You got this. Now, either I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, or that is aggressive condescension. And so I kind of want to see what he means. Like, do I sound like a beginner? Or do I sound like an intermediate? Because, I'm, of course, branding myself as a true master of the instrument, right? So when somebody says, keep practicing, okay, like, not to say that I can't get better, right? I will. I'm practicing. I got systems on systems of practicing. But if I'm just being real, I think I'm already playing at a level that very few people ever reach. But then, look at this one. No disrespect, but is your guitar out of tune? You can obviously play, but that solo did not sound good. Ouch, right? Ouch. And if you want to go look for these comments yourself and add your own opinion, videos linked in the description, of course. But let's just listen to it ourselves and see what we think right away. I mean, sounds like Coltrane changes. I feel like it's nondescript, to be honest. It's like a basic phrase through a pretty involved progression, and nothing jumps out at me as being like out of tune or anything like that. Articulation seems pretty par for the course. Let's keep going. Okay, right? That's interesting, right? That's an example of, I mean, is that a mistake? Did I have a brain fart? I mean, I didn't lose anything. I played space in a way that surprised me and probably surprised you. But I'm trying to do stuff like that, right? I'm trying to surprise myself, right? I'm trying to put myself in situations where I don't know exactly how I'm going to find my way out and return back to some rhythmic consonance. Let's go back and just listen to that little space again. Dude, that is honestly like this is why this reacting to yourself concept is kind of strange, but I got the idea from Sore Hands, classical guy who reacts to his own classical playing like worst nightmare, right? Thank God I'm a jazz musician because reacting to this is way more like, so far I'm grading myself an A+. Honest, I have to grade myself an A+. Now, if it goes any longer without developing, right? Without developing rhythmically, developing like with more creative syncopation, well, then that A+ is going lower, right? So it's always going lower. But so far, first chorus, gold. That was one of my favorite first choruses of Countdown I've honestly ever heard. Oh my God. Okay, so I guess the way that I'm hitting the open strings could be pretty jarring. I'm trying to slap them, right? Because in this phase that I'm in like right now, I'm very like in that Tim Henson compression. Started using the old compressor. John O'Stewart, shout out, dude. I've got the same compressor pedal that you gave me. It's the best one. So it's definitely a part of like that signature sound. And like John O'Stewart knows what I'm talking about. With this whole like Wayne Krantz through Countdown mentality, right? So laying into the open string mentality massively and just really spanking those open strings and playing them as like rhythmic contour that's like really surprising. And I've been pretty consistent with that throughout the entire performance of this piece. So far, I'm always going back to the open strings. And I think as the intensity is developing, I'm hitting them harder and harder. Okay, so I got a little out of control right there. Like I go to hit a note and I don't, my fingers aren't in the right place, so I get a dead note when I clearly didn't want to. Listen for that, and then listen to kind of like the recovery. I know I recovered because I remember recovering, right? That's why I really was actually pretty happy with this raw performance, because I got out in uncharted territory and I found my way back, and I just cranked it up even harder with the articulation once I found my way back. So let's listen through that mistake. All right, like that's starting to get, that's not common. I'm just literally like, I'm just being seriously honest. That level of precision and rhythmic creativity through such a specific chord progression, I mean, that is, I would venture to say that's kind of like top 1% guitarists can do that. Maybe less than top 1%. Think about it. Think about what's really going on here, right? Playing unaccompanied. If you dissect this with a microscope, you'll notice I didn't miss a single beat. I didn't miss a single chord change. I played the form with A+ impeccable precision. Now, I would say this is still an A. This might be an A performance. I don't know if it's an A+ anymore, because there was like a deep crevice of a whole mistake. But you could then say the recovery, which is spectacular so far, is an example of, you know, what an A+ performance is going to do. Because I'm not just recovering, I'm taking it up a notch here, right? Like you can feel like I'm launching. I haven't even launched it yet. It's about to be launching. And I remember, obviously, I finished by playing the melody, but I harmonized the melody with sick chord voicings. And that's just like, that's perfect, right? The whole thing builds into the melody, like in the original. That's how the original countdown goes. The whole thing, he doesn't play the melody until the end, right? So. Okay, right? That last little chunk there, right? It peaked. It peaked because when I hit that open B string against that open E string, it wasn't like perfectly in tune, and it was because of the way that I hit it. So I'm getting like a little bit sloppy, but like intentional sloppy. That's what you're trying to do. You're right on the edge, and you're looking for those moments like where like the strings go out of tune because you hit them so hard. That's kind of like, that's good. Like, that's what you want. That's that edge, that real musical edge. And it shows the audience that you're really pushing it, and then they respect, right? There's a feedback loop right there. But I mean, like, you know, obviously these guys in the comments, they're not even on that level, right? They don't even know what I'm talking about, apparently. And that's why I literally commented, who are you comparing me to? Like, who is he freaking comparing me to here? This is like intergalactic levels of continuity, right? Playing Bach triadic voice leading through Coltrane changes with that Wayne Krantz, Tim Henson guitar compression zeitgeist, and not missing a single beat or a single change, not making any mistakes with regards to the actual material that John Coltrane wrote and what he gave to the musicians to play it with him, right? So he wrote this, and then he brings it to the session, and then they're reading and then playing it. If I was on that session and I played it like this, I would be hired, and it wouldn't even be a question. Now, John Coltrane would obviously know that I have a certain style, and I was also hired on the basis of that style. But then deeper than just the style is the ability to actually master the material. And this performance is definitely a perfect example of mastering Countdown. I hope these kinds of things start a massive conversation, because this is the good stuff, you know? This is this is really the philosophy of musical creation, and kind of like taking advantage of the imperfections, right? That's like the philosophy of jazz and all this, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I hit those open strings really hard. They kind of punch out of tune, but that's exactly what I was hoping would happen. All right, let's finish with this outhead, because I remember that was where I was so stoked on that. When I hit that outhead, I remember in the moment, like on the recording, saying like, I'm going to play a raw, unedited recording, man. I hope I don't botch this. Pick the hardest tune of them all. Pick freaking Countdown, for Christ's sakes. Go for the chord melody on the outhead. Yeah, a lot is riding on this one, right? High stakes. And I felt like in that moment I was channeling the spirit of Coltrane. Of course I felt like that. That's why I love playing those tunes, because when I really play them accurately, I know I'm channeling. And when I play them with other people, Cole, Bernie Stewart, you know what I'm saying? Like, we literally channel the spirit of Coltrane. Obviously, you have to understand, like, these tunes, any jazz standard, it's like a map to a place in the universe, right? If you just play the map and interpret it accurately, you made it. You don't have to do anything beyond that. You just have to be accurate. So learn all your triadic voice leading, master forms, master rhythms, and then just take the map, memorize it. Don't look at it. You got to have it memorized. But once you memorize the map, you go play it. You play with others. The keys to the kingdom. The map is giving you the keys to the kingdom, the place in the universe that the form represents. So playing outheads and playing them accurately, oh man, there's nothing like it. Check this one. You know what I'm saying, dude? I do know what he's saying. I'm proud of that, man. I really do stand by that. You know, that's the kind of thing that I work towards. You know, like being able to just rip on some scary tunes. That's what I like to do. And then I like to take what I learn and write and then cross like different styles. Like that's an example of that. Even in that improvisation is very like jazz style, but at the same time, it's also taking guitar tones that are not generally associated with, you know, that kind of jazz, Coltrane changes or similar things. That's an obvious thing to do if you ask me. But then in my compositions, like classic, we always talk about it, bring Coltrane changes into, you know, Meshuggah frameworks, right? I always talk about the Coltrane Meshuggah zeitgeist. Like I literally made a video on it. If Meshuggah wrote Giant Steps, like obviously had to be done, right? Take it as you will. It just exists. Let me know if you guys want me to react to more of my playing, anyone else's playing. I've got a lot of reaction ideas because I think there's a lot of meat on the bones with reactions. So yeah, I'm about to start to lay into that a little bit and let's see where it takes us. But yeah, I figured start with reacting to my own solo, which was already controversial to begin with. So yup, talk to you soon. See you in the next video.